Okay, sir.
Yes, I'd like to welcome all of you again for this live webinar because the last time we had it, we had a very bad internet connection. So I am, without taking much of your time, I'll ask Dr. Yogesh to start the webinar. Dr. Yogesh?
Yes, sir. Hello, everybody. Good evening, everyone. First of all, sorry for the last session. As you all give your time, but due to the internet issue, the things don't went according to the plan. But today, internet is good, but still, to be on the safer side, I will switch off my video if needed, which will increase the quality of the internet from my end. So let's start today's session. So in last webinar, we discussed about multi-dimensional approach, and especially the role of repertory in that. But now today we will discuss how we can bring this aspect in case analysis, that how in case analysis we can work in a way that we don't get fixed to one thing. So how we can do that. So today I'm going to start our session with this picture on the screen. So give your input, what you're able to see in this picture. Come on, everyone. Discussion is always better than the monologue. What you are able to see in this picture. Am I audible? Yes. What else?
Go ahead.
Waves, yes. Anybody having a different perception of this picture? Yeah, Brahmins in the orange color. Yeah, very good. Now, can you see if you look this picture? In this, the painter he draw the random line, right? Which first look abstract. Yeah, which first look abstract. But in this abstract, we can see picture of the four Buddhist monk beautifully painted. Basically, there are four Buddhist monk, not three. One, two, and three and fourth is we can see the little bit head of that monk. Right now, this is what homeopathy is basically. In the whole scenario of the symptoms, we have to pick the picture of the patient, and there is one another picture. Now you can clearly see. Now you can in this picture there is no need to ask you. The four Buddhist monks were walking together. Now why I am showing you this picture? This is what we see in our day-to-day practice. We see cases which are very clearly pointed to one remedy, and we have no doubt about that. On the other hand, we are having cases in which we have no idea about their remedy understanding. So in the clinic, we get spectrum of cases ranging from confusion, or we can say that abstract painting of the Buddhist monk to the extent of exact clarity of the four Buddhist monks. And same in the clinic, we get sometimes cases with the exact clarity of the symptomatology, and sometimes we get the abstract symptom. We get the totally mix up case. We're not able to understand what to do in that cases. So today we will try to understand how we can adapt according to the case and not according to our programmed mind in any particular case. So going to the next slide. So I'm sharing one simple case, a very simple case which came to me many years back. He complained of a simple problem that he is feeling sleepy all day, just like a hangover, right? No sleep overpowering, right? No comatose sleep like, but just dozing like that, dozing. He feel like a hangover. Neither the sleep is profound, not he is feeling fresh. but it is disturbing him into day-to-day activity. So I took his whole case and find nothing in that case except this sleepiness. Along with that, I get a few other issues of his life, that is lack of confidence, one plus intensity, and indolence. Right? He feel indolent, don't want to go for the work at all. So according to that state of I can say ki way of my practice, I took these four rubrics. I took confidence, want of self, sleep overpowering, indolence, aversion to work, and sleep unrefreshing. So here comes the chart. If we took these rubric, so I prescribed one remedy after another, but he did not respond to anything. Every time he came back and said the problem is same, no change, no change, no change. So after a few months, he left my treatment. As there is no change, definitely he will go. Then he went to some another doctor, and after 1 month, I met him in some function by chance. I asked him how are you? Then he said, I'm perfectly fine, doctor. I took homeopathic medicine from one doctor for only 15 days, and now there is no problem with me at all. I taken aback by this response because I failed for a month in this case, and he's fine in just 15 days. How this is possible? I know there is I'm doing mistake in some way or another, but I don't know what happened. So there is a curiosity in my mind. So there is a curiosity along with the chance of learning. So I called, I tried to contact that homeopath and try to know what he prescribed him. So I came to know about the remedy, right? But here, what I think, knowing the remedy is not important. Important is to ask few questions. Why I fail in this case? Second, what should I do to overcome this limitation? So these are the two main queries, main questions which are haunting me at that moment. Why I fail in that case and how I have to overcome this limitation. So we keep these questions in our mind and let's start our session. And in meanwhile, I will let you know about the remedy which that person was prescribed and why that doctor prescribed that remedy. So to start with, first we should know what type of information which we normally get into day-to-day practice, right? What are the type of information whenever patient came to us? What type of information he gave us when we take his case? So there are few type of information which we normally get. Sometimes we get whole together. Whole means that there is one main issue in the patient, and that issue is going everywhere in the childhood, in the adulthood, present scenario, in chief complaint, in pathology, everywhere you see that information. And then we can say that that cases are holistic type of cases. So they are the cases which are most clear cases, and we oftenly see these cases in the seminars. Other type of information which we normally see is the essence, normally essence. And later on we will try to understand what it means. And other type of information is totality. Another type of information are the keynotes. So now we try to understand one by one. So in some cases, everything speaks about the same remedy. Those are the cases we see in the seminar, clear and wonderfully prescribed. But most of the time, there is a mix of these. For example, we are having a essence, right? Essence of some another remedy. For example, we have an essence pointing toward the lac cananum. Then we put some rubrics. Then totality came, which is speaking about natrum muriaticum. And then there are the keynote, which are pointing to the pulsatilla. Then comes the real confusion. Which thing to prescribe? What information we have to trust in that scenario or that case. So when we get into this type of situation, we tend to prescribe our favorite remedies, or we tend to follow a favorite system, right? And we tend to ignore information which we are not able to understand or fit into the prescription. This is where we go wrong. My sir, Dr. Dinesh, always said the bit that does not fit is a key to the case. Again repeating, the bit that does not fit is the key to the case. So today we try to understand the system in which we can categorize our prescription in a more systematic way, right? So we take all these information one by one, right? So the first, when we are having a case in which whole is present. So for this, you just log into the last class, right? In last class we discussed about one case of atropine in which fears are running through and through in the whole case, from childhood to adulthood to dreams, and there is one specific dream of buried alive in that patient, and its complaints were also matching with the remedies, having a hypertension which is more of the functional type which we see in atropine. And along with that, so in this case, everything in case is speaking about the same remedy. The fears pointing to the atropine, the tubercular diathesis pointing to the atropic, the impatience, the hypertension, everything goes to the one remedy. So this is these. So in we can say these cases are the holistic one in which everything is there. So in these cases we get very good result. But what about the others? So other type of information which is very important is a essence, right? Now, what is essence? So normally, when I am in my student phase, I means essence means a mental phenomena, right? So weeping tendency, yielding disposition is a essence of pulsatilla. But we have to read the mind of the author who has given this word. This word is given by Vitholcus. When you read Vitholcus, he said essence is having the four parts. That is, first, causation, second, speed, third, center of pathology, right? And fourth, physiognomy. So what he mean by that basically? So here, nowadays we are totally, we can say that we are obsessed by the only mental understanding of the patient or prescription. But when Vitholcus used the word essence, he is incorporated everything in the essence. So when he say causation, for example, injury to the soft tissue of our body leading to tumor is a essence of Ballus poronicus. So getting wet after overheating and then bringing some ailment is the essence of rustox. So these parts are very important. This is one part of that essence, that is causation. Then the next part is speed. Here speed means overall the speed of pathogenesis. So suddenness of aconite and belladonna is a part of essence of aconite and belladonna. Then slowness of alumina and slowness of symptoms of the pathogenesis of the conium, slowness of insidiousness of bryonia, slowness of gelsemium are the part of their essence. So, and then when we go to next, the center of pathology, the very famous and common example was given most of the time, that is three acids, acid phos, picric acid, and muriatic acids. We all know all the three acids have peculiarity, but they are having a different center of pathology. Center of pathology means what are the area in which symptoms are coming, the first symptoms are coming. So in acid phos, we all know the emotional area, the emotional level is disturbed first, then the other areas goes to another areas. In picric acid, the pathology first expressed in the mental faculty, right? And in muriatic acid, the pathology first start expressing at the physical level, then to other levels. So these things are very important when we have to understand the center of pathology, and this is a very important understanding, we can say, the center of pathology. I want to give here one example. Suppose we took a case of a patient. After detailed case taking, we came to know that his problem is centered around GIT, right? Means when patient, when we taken the case, the whole area which is disturbing the patient is the GIT, right? And after taking whole case, we are considering remedy pulsatilla, right? Now we all know the pulsatilla is having a very good affinity for GIT. It is a known remedy for, well-known remedy for the GIT. Now there are two things which we have to understand or we have to take care of in this condition. If patient is having a center of pathology of the GIT, right, and we are considering a remedy pulsatilla, which is having a very strong affinity of GIT, then we must have keynotes of pulsatilla in the GIT systems, right? So keynotes, or it can be desired version or pain or anything which is associated with GIT, that must be there in the case. If they are not present in the case, then we must doubt that, because first, pulsatilla is well-proved remedy. Second, it is having a very good affinity for the GIT, and our patient is having center of pathology in the GIT. So in this criteria, the if we have to give pulsatilla in this case, we must have the confirmatory symptoms, the keynote symptoms in the GIT systems. Otherwise, we have to think twice before giving that remedy. We have to find some another remedy. Next is physiognomy, right? This we all know, right? Like flatness is the feature, or we can say essence of the sepia, the flatness of the body structure. The thin neck and emaciated neck is a essence of natrum miraticum. Person who grow faster are the essence of phosphorus. So if we together understand this, we can know what essence means. When Vitholcus say essence, what he mean by essence. And that is why when he explains sepia, he says stasis is a essence. And that stasis is not at one level, that is stasis at the mental level in the form of indifference. That stasis is there in the physical level also, in the development of the body, and that stasis in the hormonal system also. So then you see stasis everywhere in that constitution. So this is what when Vitholcus say by the word mean essence. So next type of information which we get is totality, and we all know very well. So we're just skipping this. So other thing, next important totality is keynote, right? So now here, these are very important. Now, first of all, what are the keynotes? So anything which is peculiar, strange symptom present in the case, right? Now, important thing here is to understand that it should be strong in the medicine and strong in the patient. Suppose patient is having a very strange symptom according to you. You think the symptom is very peculiar, symptom is very strange. But when you refer to the repertory, there are 50 remedies under that symptoms. So now this symptom does not qualify for the keynote. So it should be rare in the patient and it should be rare in the materia medica and repertory. Then and only then it will qualify for the keynote. Here I want to I will give one example of a case. The cases of pyrexia. When I went to see one patient of pyrexia of unknown origin in DMC, one hospital over there, he was under treatment for months and not responding to any medicine, both allopathic and homeopathic. So when I took his case, I did not find any strong information in his case, except only one thing, that every time he coughs in single paroxysm. This is the only thing I found in that case. So then to confirm again, now I went back to the clinic, right? Then to confirm that, then I went back to the clinic to work on the case, but can't get anything strong to prescribe except this one single information. So to confirm again, I call him and watch this again. So during that time also, he coughs only once. Now this become peculiar, because now this symptom become peculiar, persistent, and constant. So here this is the most important thing. If he cough twice, once in between, this keynote will become irrelevant to me. So here important thing is that the keynote should be peculiar, it should be predominant, and it should be persistence. So in this case, you all know the remedy, the cough with single paroxysm. Calcarea cough work here beautifully. Now coming back to that case, from where we start our session, which I am not able to treat that. So coming back to the case where we start, patient is having issue of sleepiness, and along with that, there are other issues. But here we have to ask one question. Do we have strong mental symptom which we use for repetition? Right? We use repetition. In that we use lack of confidence, and along with that we use indolence, right? But are they very strong? Are they peculiar? Are they PPP or 3 plus? No, they are only 1 plus. But our fascination to mental symptom leads to all this mistake. So confidence, want of self, and indolence was of less intensity, only 1 marked by me. So here it is a very important understanding we should know. If in any given case you are considering to prescribe a polycrust, you must have strong confirmatory to justify your prescription. Otherwise, you will fail. So, this is why we fail in this case. In this case, we are having weak mentals. But due to our preference, we tend to ignore everything else and use weak mental, which we get in one way or another. Like we will get in case the weak mental we always get, like confidence, want of self, weeping disposition, jealousy, anger suppressed. And because these are the common aspect of the human nature, which bound to come. But to justify the prescription of apis, in a case of a jealousy, the patient whole life should revolve around jealousy. So this is the most important thing. So when we did not get confirmatory symptom in a given case, that means that case is not of a polycrust, but it is rather of a small remedy, which only have that much aspect of the patient in the proving or a remedy picture. So remedy which was given to him, that patient, by another homeopath was Skatol. Right? It is prepared from the human feces. Now, if you go to the Materia Medica, it is written in Boric, sluggishness with no ambition. And that is what the patient talking about. And I took the rubric indolence, work aversion to, right? But it is written in the Materia Medica, but is not referred in the repertory. So, and another thing, it is written that increased desire to sleep, wakes unrefreshed, half dope feeling. So this is not in chart. This remedy is not in chart because this is very less expressed in the repertory. Present only in the rubric sleep unrefreshing and sleepiness, right? But not in the sleep overpowering. And in this case, there is no sleep overpowering. Basically, there is sleepiness in this case. Another mental symptom we consider are not justifiable, right? We should not take that mental symptom. So so this is the limitation of the repertory, and this is the limitation of our understanding, that we don't know when to prescribe polycrust and when not to prescribe polycrust. So these are very important thing to understand. Now look into this chart again. There is one more thing to learn from this repetition chart. Number 3, third remedy. Look in this chart. You get at third number, there is one remedy which is covering only one symptom, but it is covering in the 4 marks, highest in intensity. The third remedy covering only one rubric, that is sleep overpowering, but in 4 marks, mean it is highest. So this is a small unknown remedy, but having a very strong symptom of sleep overpowering. Now, why I said this is important? My teacher told me that whenever in a small rubric, some remedy which is a small remedy or unknown remedy is emerging very strongly, you must never forget that remedy. For example, if you take rubric fear of ghost in synthesis repertoire, you will find mancinella in a very high marks, right? So in this also there is a rubric sleep overpowering, but this remedy, unknown remedy, is having a 4 marks, right? So I'm going to share one case which I also shared last time. Patient came to me who sleep while driving, right? While working on machine. Sleep is so sudden that it was difficult for him to control and sleep for long time if he is undisturbed. This leads to accidents. He was on a high risk. He was working in the tool manufacturing unit. He took all type of treatment, including homeopathy, right? So in this case, he is having no other information. His whole no other constitutional symptoms, nothing, not in the generality, not in the mental state, no symptoms at all. Only this is his problem which is disturbing him. It means we have to find the remedy which is having this in center. So if we prescribe opium, opium has another state, another symptoms, which also is because it is a polycrust, it will associate with the patient. We can see that symptoms. If we have to prescribe Nux moscata, we will see confusion in this case, but there is no such symptom in the case. If we have to prescribe gilsemium, then there must be the signs of anticipation we will see in this case. But in this case, this is the only phenomena which is disturbing the patient. So in that cases, that remedies which are very strong in that rubric and the small remedies are very important. So this remedy helped that patient of mine having this problem. Now see, in last case, we have seen that that is not sleep overpowering, that is just dozing like this. So whenever he is relaxed, he is dozing. He feels sleepy. So remedy must have exactly same symptom. It should not be sleep overpowering. It should be dozing. Now in this case, the sleep is profound. If undisturbed, he sleeps for hours together, and moreover, he sleeps while working. Right? Who will sleep while working? Even while driving two-wheeler, we sleep while driving four-wheeler because of the comfort. AC is going, AC is working. We feel relaxed. But while two-wheel drive, and he falls asleep during driving a two-wheeler. So much profound the sleep is. Now, just read this. What is written in the proving? And in this remedy, this is the only thing which is important in that remedy. A sleep the most profound that I ever experienced. Now, these are the symptoms from the proving. You will get from, I think, Clark or Allen's encyclopedia. Sleep the most profound that I even experienced arrested me so abruptly that I remained motionless for whole night, with uncorked vial in one hand and the glass out of which I have taken the dose in the another, until after the sun was high above the horizon on the following morning, a space of 12 good hours, when I first returned to consciousness. So this much profound sleep is there in this remedy, without any of those unpleasant sensations which invariably succeed on overdose of opium, and free from every pain and ache, no symptom, totally deep sleep is there in this remedy. So we should be very, very clear that do we need a polycrust or a small remedy in a case, and that depends upon the totality we got. So now coming back to that discussion which we are doing, we discussed essence, totality, and keynote. Now we will see that how clinically we get combination of these. So when these information point to same remedy, things are easy for homeopath, but many time that does not happens. And many time what happens, we get essence of some another remedies, suppose natrum miraticum, then we repetize some remedy is coming, then we when we refer to the keynote, then we see the keynote is of Thuja. Then if we are having this scenario, right, we are having totality of another remedy, keynote of some another remedy, essence of another remedy, then which to prescribe. So there must be some clear-cut criteria, right? So here I want to refer to Dr. Morrison of California. He has given a very beautiful hierarchy in the symptoms, in the descending order according to the importance. He has given the importance, the most important is the holistic prescription. But if you are not having that information, so don't use light information or incomplete information or less intense symptom just to prescribe holistically, then shift to next level. Then leave that and see either you are having essence or totality or essence or keynote. If you are not having essence and totality or essence plus keynote, then go to totality plus keynote. Suppose you are not having totality or keynote, you are having only essence, then prescribe on only essence. If you are not having only essence, then go to only totality. If you are not having you are a clean totality or complete totality or a strong totality, then leave that totality. Go to the keynotes. In keynotes also, there are other criteria like keynotes from the different area, keynote essence. We will discuss today in detail. So, holistic we discussed earlier. So we will go to the next, that is essence plus totality. When in a case we are having a essence, along with the essence we are having a totality, means when we considering essence, it is pointing to the same remedy, and when we uh, bring totality into repertorization chart, it is also pointing to the same remedy. I'm giving you one example. For example, a menopausal woman came to us with extreme prostration, 4 plus. All whenever you take case, always give intensity to the symptom according to the patient. Always. This is very important because it changes everything. For example, if stretching ameliorate is only 1 plus, right, then it is difficult to prescribe Rustox. But when stretching ameliorate is 4 plus, it is good to prescribe Rustox. But radiation in pain in 1 plus, it's difficult to prescribe Berberis vulgaris. But it is radiation 4 plus, then we should prescribe uh, Berberis vulgaris. So these intensities are very important. So here menopausal woman came to us with prostration 4 plus. When inquired about her life, we came to know that her life was full of struggle. Her mother died, and stepmother don't take care of her from the early age of her life. After marriage, also she struggled to find her place, and her husband is alcoholic. So stress and worries are part of her life. This whole struggle slowly drained her to the extent that now she is totally worn out, 3 plus, totally worn out. She feels so weak that even sleep is not refreshing her. On the contrary, she is more drained when she woke up in the morning, 3 plus. She is weeping while telling her complaint, 2 plus. And there is a desire for meat, 3 plus. But after eating, she suffers from sore eructation. Now, in this case, we are having a essence of one remedy. Essence of one remedy having, which is very good remedy for a menopausal conditions, which is very good remedy when conditions are from cares and worries. A very good remedy for a condition when condition started to develop very slow, right? Very good remedy for a condition when patient become totally worn out, right? It is a very good remedy when patient is totally worn out and even not refreshed by sleep. And it is a very good remedy when patient tells you that in the morning when he wake up, he woke more unrefreshed. The whole thing in this patient, and along with that, the totality, that desire for meat, right, and sleep symptoms, they are pointing to the same remedy. So in this case, the essence is of one remedy, same remedy, and totality is also of a same remedy. So here we all know the remedy, magnesium carb, right? So if we put symptom together, we got magnesium carb, nux vomica, sulfur. But nux vomica and sulfur has having all together different totality, different indications. But this is the clear-cut indication of magnesium, that sore perspiration, right? Meat desire, sore eructations, sleep unrefreshing, total worn out state, ailments from cares and worries, menopausal condition. Right? The magnesium carb is a very good remedy for particularly this condition. Then comes when we have totality with the keynote. Right? We are not having essence, but we came with the totality and keynote. Sorry, here should be essence with keynote. So one patient of mine is suffering from hair fall. Right? He was studying in the college, and his whole life is revolving around that hair fall. He only enters in the class if nobody is in the class. If some students are sitting in the class, he missed that class. He goes first, and he sits on the last seat. And when he leaves class, he was always in the end. He leaves always in the end. Why? Just to avoid other person, so that they will not able, so that you are not came across that he is losing his hairs, so that nobody came to know about his condition. He always tried to hide his condition, and his whole case revolved around this and this, again and again and again and again. He's not having mirror in his house, in his room, because he don't want to see that. He did not go to any parties or any to go with a friend, because they came to know about his problem. He always wearing a cap. So now we are having essence in this case of a patient. Along with that, he is having a strong anticipatory anxieties. Along with that, we are having a very peculiar keynote that he likes few things together. What are things? That is, they're having a very strong desire for sweet, salt, and sour together. Now, in this case, we know that there is a remedy which is having this hiding criteria in the center, and is having a very good remedy for anticipatory anxiety. Now, we are having a essence of a remedy, and we are having not having a totality, but a one keynote for that remedy, that is desire for sweet, salty, and sour together. And we know the remedy, that is medorrhinum. So here we are not having holistic prescription, but what we are having, we have to prescribe on that information only. We are having only essence, and along with the essence, we are having one keynote. So next come totality plus keynote. We are having totality along with the keynote. In last class, I discussed this case of boy suffering from the alopecia totalis. We already discussed this case in detail in the last session, so watch this case for the reference. So in this case, you will see we having a rubrics, right? And that also very important, that why we take that rubrics. You have to see that session. It's a very good case. So in this case, we are having a rubric, embarrassment and mortification. Along with that, weeping with mortification, and then we are having a few keynotes which are very suggestive of pulsatilla. And this is the change after that prescription, after pulsatilla. So in this case, we are having totality and keynote, and sometimes we are having only essence, nothing in support, that we have to prescribe only on the essence. And totality, you all know, right? And when I say totality, what I mean by totality, so one of my patient is having a cirrhosis issue. So one patient came to me with a liver problem. He is having a chronic colic. All family are requesting him and saying to stop drinking, but he is not able to quit drinking. So he was very angry and dominating person, right? He got very angry with the slight things, very slight thing aggravate him, make him very angry, abusive in that condition. But now condition is going out of his control also. Now he start realizing his mistake. But now cirrhosis, along with that ascites, is there, and he becoming very despair about his health condition, and always talk about the death and fear about that. Okay, I'm going to die. Along with that, this mental state. But the other symptoms which are very important in that case, that is taste sweet in the mouth. Along with that, there is a nausea whenever he rise from lying down position, or when he sit, there is a vertigo along with the nausea in this condition. So in this case, we are not having any mental phenomena or essence in this case, right? We are not having any understanding which is going through and through in this case, but we are having informations. What are that information? These information are, we know that person is dictatorial, right? We know that person has an issue of alcoholism. We know that at this point of time, he's in a condition of remorse. We know he's having a death presentment of. He is offended very easily. He is having vertigo with nausea, discoloration, yellow tongue, taste sweetish, right? Then he is having pain, that colic which is ameliorated by lying on abdomen, and we took liver and ailments from and dropsy and ascites. Now here we are not having any picture of some remedy. We can see this is pulsatile, or this is aurum, this is platina, this is nux vomica, but having information, right? This is what we say when we say totality. So this patient get better with chelidonium. Suppose in a case now we are not having any totality, right? Then we must see now what to do. The next thing is three keynotes from the different area. Now, why different area? Different area means, for example, one keynote from the mental sphere, one keynote for the GIT, or one keynote for the extreme. It can be anything. So here I'm giving you one example. One patient is having fever with neuralgic pain, severe neuralgia, along with that fever, is driving him out of bed, right, which give him relief. Feel uneasy from the warmth of bed, but coldness in the legs, so he want covering. The warmth of bed is making him aggravate, but there is a coldness of limbs also, which but still the covering is disturbing him. So in this and he's having a perspiration sore and staining clothes yellow. Now we are having the three keynotes which belong to the different system. For example, one journal in regard to perspiration, that is perspiration sore, and it is staining the clothes yellow. These symptoms are very, very, very important. Like in chelidonium, if you see, there is one symptom, leucorrhea white, staining linen yellow. This is a very important keynote of chelidonium. So here the patient is saying that perspiration sore, but staining clothes yellow. Along with that, patient is having neuralgia, for which neuralgia compelling the patient to walk about, and there is coldness of the leg which need to cover. At the same time, warmth of bed aggravate. Now these are the keynotes of the remedy. Now we can get, if we get fascinated by only the mental states or symptom, we can get symptoms like confidence want of in our previous cases, or lack of or anxieties, or any other symptom which we all have. We will get that symptoms, but these are the symptoms which are intense in the patient, so we have to consider we have to give more importance to these symptoms. So these three keynotes are pointing to the same remedy. So whenever we have three keynotes of a different area pointing to the same remedies, they are very important in that condition. But sometimes we have the keynote of the same area. So keynote from the same area carry less importance from, if we compare with the keynotes from three different areas. Suppose patient is having keynote from same area like GIT, desire meat. Patient have sore eructation from the cabbage, right? Is having aversion to vegetables, salads, and raw foods. Right? Now what happened? Now all of them are peculiar, are strong, but they belong to the same area, that is stomach desire aversion. So they will be of less importance than keynote of the different area. So this is what we have to understand. There is one more, that is called keynote essence. When keynote does not remain a simple keynote, it became the essence of that particular case. I got one case in that patient is suffering from cough from 6 months. She is coughing regularly without any relief, and all that started when she came back from her daughter's home, in-laws home. And what happened there? She suffered a lot there. She get insulted. She feel like, okay, how her daughter is suffering in that condition, how she is living in that worse state in her in-laws house. So when she came back, cough started, and that goes on for 6 months without any relief. Now this symptom, that now what to do in this case? We have to see how all this started. So in this, what happens? Ki the overall environment around him, that she's feeling anger, she's feeling insulted, she's feeling hurt, right? She's feeling bad for her daughter. All that emotions are going through in her, and that started, or we can say that leads to cough. So then now there is a rubric in the repertory, and it is a keynote of that remedy, that cough agitation from. So this is what agitation means, when many emotions together get agitated and lead to cough. And this is what, when you refer to the materia medica, symptom is given: mental excitement bring cough, or mental excitement brings symptoms. So now this keynote in that remedy, sister scan, it is not only a keynote, it become a keynote essence. So this is very important to know. It is not just a keynote in that case. It became the whole essence of the case, because its overall totality, its overall experience, it just joined together in that experience of cough agitation from. So this is very important. So what we today, so what we have discussed in the past, that we will be like a carpenter with all our tools, and we have, so that we can use accordingly, right? And not just only having a hammer, then everything seemed to us like a nail, right? So for me, homeopathy is to use not just one type of information, or not just one type of analysis, but to blend and to be flexible, to use whatever information is there for the advantage of the patient. This is very important. So now we summarize everything, what we discussed today. So what we discussed today? We discussed first that what are the type of information we have. We discussed we have essence, totality, and keynote, right? Then we get to second thing, that confirming the remedy is very important. If you want to give polycrust, you must have a confirmatory symptoms. Otherwise, look for a smaller remedy. Third, contradictory symptoms means you are going to give pulsatilla and patient is having unquenchable thirst, then you have to think once, because now you are having a totally contradictory symptoms in that patient. But if patient is having normal thirst or slightly too thirsty, you can go for a pulsatilla, right? So this is very important, that there should not be any contradictory symptom. And one mistake we many times we do is negative matching. Look for what is present in the case and what which is absent, right? Many times we do mistake, we eliminate the remedy with the information which is absent in the case. For example, if we are thinking about pulsatilla and we are saying patient is not weeping, right? If we are thinking about natrium moraticum and we have said patient weeps in front of you, right? So, or he is not having a salt desire. So this is very important. You have not to negatively match. You have to evaluate what you have in front of you. And today we also discuss about the different aspects of magnesium. I deliberately took examples of cases of one remedy only, so that in this process we understand that remedy also, that is magnesium carb, right? Today we discuss about the sensitivity of the magnesium carb with the love, care, and affection. We know about the long-term cares and worries going through in the family which affect the patient, right? And which goes on for a year and lead to the totally worn out state. We also know about that in magnesium carb, sleep does not give relief. On the contrary, sleep drain that patient in more than which already patient is in the condition already patient is. We also came to know that it is a very good remedy for a neuralgia, especially facial neuralgia, especially of the left side, especially of this area, this triangular area, facial neuralgia. And neuralgia make the patient to walk. He became so restless that he has to walk at the night, because the walking gives the patient relief. Then we also came to know that in magnesium carb there is a sore perspiration. Sore, and rather we can say in materia medica it is written oily perspiration, which is very difficult to wash off from the clothes. and it gives a yellow color to the clothes. We also came to know about the desire and aversion, like meat desire and aversion to vegetables, raw food, salads, and their peculiar aggravation from cabbage. It is only in the magnesium carb, sore eructation from cabbage, right? Then we also know that magnesium carb is having a symptom that menses only at night, right? So now, can we say that the mind is important or physical is important? Cares and worries are equally important to aversion to salad and green vegetable and sensitivity to the cabbage. The key is only one, which is more strong, more peculiar, and more strange, right? So this thing is very important. So find your own way. We should be loyal to the laws and not to the symptoms and personalities. Vijayakar sir, Shankran sir, Vithalkar sir, all these symptoms should be like weapon in our armor. And we should use them out of compulsion and mental programming. And we should be practical and not fascinated with one or another type of practice. Then and only then we can use what is there in a case. Otherwise, we create case according to our own perception and biases, which is the only cause of the failure. So, for me, the key is flexibility. And Cancer says homeopathy is capable of expressing itself in every intelligent hand. So, here I end our discussion. I once again thank from core of my heart, from my group dear, to Dr. Karthik Raghav Murthy for giving us platform and space to share our idea. Thank you, everyone. If you are having any query, please ask. Hello, sir.
Yeah, hello. I'm just going through everything. Does anybody else have anything to ask, Dr. Yogesh? Yes, Sanjay, do you want to ask anything? Does anybody else have anything to ask?
I think no questions.
Yeah, so I just like to thank everybody for coming in, and also I'd like to thank you once again for doing this seminar, Doctor.
Thank you, sir. Thank you,
In
sir.
this seminar.
Okay, sir.
And yes,
Thank you, sir.
thank you, Doctor. Thank you so much. Like to thank our sponsors, Bahola.co, for being with us all the while.